Welcome to ASCP's Our Experience podcast. We are here on site at the Midwest Regional Meeting at the Crown Plaza in downtown Indianapolis with your co-hosts, Chad and Tom. And we are so excited to have guests here from our hosting pharmacy, In Touch Pharmacy, very famous in Indiana. Everybody knows In Touch Pharmacy here. We've got two lovely ladies that we have coerced to come and spend a little bit extra time with us today. And so we'd like to have you guys introduce yourselves and tell a little bit about your background, a little about your origin story.
Okay, do you want the whole origin story of my whole pharmacy career?
Absolutely, want it all.
Okay. We've got plenty of time here.
Okay.
I mean, the drinks are getting warm, so.
That's true, that's true. My name is Clarissa Heck, and I am a graduate of Butler University College of Pharmacy before they changed the name, and I will not tell you what year. I started out my career in retail. I did that for about 10 years, worked for Hooks and then Walmart, and then I stayed home for a little while. And then when I decided to go back to work, I thought, well, what do I want to do? I thought long-term care sounded very interesting to me. And so I started out part-time, and over the years have really worked my way up, and now I've been full-time for quite a while. And I really enjoy it.
Awesome. Rachel?
My name is Rachel Bush. I am a pharmacist at In Touch Pharmaceuticals. I'm one of the consultant pharmacists, so I have a few facilities. I do that part-time. But then I also work part-time in our data entry department, and I also help take care of our med bank machines that we use for first dose and emergency doses for facilities.
That's awesome.
So I started at an independent pharmacy right after graduating Butler, like Clarissa.
Go dogs.
And then our independent pharmacy serviced some long-term care facilities. So I was already an ASCP member, and I was already familiar with long-term care. And when our pharmacy closed, I decided to go with In Touch Pharmaceuticals to help facilities further and to stick with one of mine that went with them. So
Yes, that worked out really well.
That's awesome. Well, what can you tell us about In Touch? What's the secret sauce, the magic that makes that pharmacy work?
I think
Other than the two of you.
Yes.
Obviously.
well, Clarissa, no. And then definitely just being very innovative, trying to use technology the best we can to help our facilities, and always trying to improve. I think we're always trying to get better and look for ways to improve our service level.
Yeah, customer service is our main priority, huge priority. We work very hard working with our facilities, whether they need education, support, anything they need. So customer service is big.
Well, I've known Rick Rondinelli and Mitch for many, many years, and they were always trying to take the next step. Like they were never afraid to blaze a trail and be the kind of the first one through the wall, if you will. I know that's still, Mitch is still there, and that's still a very
That is still
strategic
very
one.
true, yes.
Yes, yeah, and I think we're fortunate that we have Mitch and the IT team and support that we do, because I don't know that every pharmacy has that.
No.
Yeah, so
No one has a Mitch, but
You're
I don't know
right.
if,
You're right. Mitch
No.
is
Mitch is
awesome.
special.
Mitch is awesome.
But it is really about trying to maximize production and not spend a whole lot of wasted time and money on trying to get drugs out the door, but really put that effort into the patient care, and that's what you guys do.
Yes.
I think that efficiency also kind of goes towards our packaging system, because it also helps to try to decrease waste, and also to make sure that we're sending just what's needed, but making sure that the nursing and the facilities always have what they do need available.
You're specifically talking about multi-dose pouch, right? And the cycle fills?
We can do multi-dose, we can do single dose, but everything we do is short cycle dispensing and cycle strips for anything that's a routine oral solid medication.
Are they different day supplies, or is there a set routine day supply that you use for short cycle, or?
I would say that 7 is probably the
7.
most popular, but
Okay.
we are able to customize it based on a facility's preference and
Nice.
what their need is.
Yeah.
That's
I think we
great.
do some 3 and 4-day cycles.
For
But
high acute or homes,
Yeah, but we mainly do the 7-day, and then it's mainly just one drug per pouch. It's not really the multi-dose for most of our facilities.
Multi-dose is available, though. We do have some facilities that prefer that, so it's an option. And then we're also kind of working on the long-term care at home patient population, trying to help some of those patients when they're discharged from a facility. And in those cases, a lot of times multi-dose is preferred.
Yeah, the Home with Meds program.
That's a whole avenue that we should go down. But before we do that, I know one of the challenges when I was running pharmacies and trying to convert nurses from unit dose blister, which we've had back from the 1960s over to any kind of pouch, there was, let's say, a little bit of resistance sometimes. I'm sure as the consultant pharmacist, you guys might have endured a few of that. But how have you been able to kind of convince them that, hey, this is better for you, it's better for the patient, it's called compliance packaging for a reason because it increases compliance. How have you guys been able to overcome that?
Well, really, that's all. We only do the short cycle. We don't do, we put C2s on cards, things, there's a few things, but mainly we don't have different systems. We just do the short cycle unit dose.
But if you ever take over a home that was maybe from someone else that it was on unit dose blister?
Oh, how do we sell them on that?
Yeah.
A lot of times they want it, and that's why they're talking to us in the first place.
Good.
Yeah.
It's nice. Again, it decreased waste. We're sending less medicine per fill. And then also it helps to reduce errors.
Yes.
All the packages and the little pouches that the medications are in have like the date and time that medication is supposed to be administered, the patient's name on it, everything necessary, so that the nurse has an easier, faster med pass.
Yeah.
And then it can go home with the patient, easier to
Yes.
discharge to home.
Or if they go on like a short stay or a leave of absence for some reason, family takes them out, the medication's labeled appropriately.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
we're also able to, some of our facilities are starting to do the scan. So as they're doing the med pass, we have scanners and they can scan,
Awesome.
which also increases accuracy with the med pass and nursing time and things like that.
So on the discharge to home, actually, we were trying to do this at my old pharmacy, and one of our VPs said, we're going to call this program Follow Me Home. And I thought, well, that might be a little creepy. We better avoid that. So we changed the terminology, but meds to home, and especially when we're dealing with rehab, pharmacies or rehab facilities, and those patients are there for 10, 15, 20 days, and they do want to go home. They're not going to be there as admitted for life. And so how has that program been able to get rolled out? And tell me about the success that you've had with that.
I think right now with the Home with Meds, we have maybe about 50 people enrolled in that.
It's growing all the time,
Yeah.
and we're having some facilities that are seeing the benefit of it and the reduced readmissions that we have with patients who have the appropriate medications when they get home already, and it's all set up for them. So it seems like it's just growing all the time. I think it was 50 a few months ago, but
could be.
it's higher now.
Yeah.
Well, as somebody I've watched my dad fill his med minder. Like he sits in his chair and puts it on his chest and starts putting the pills in, and I'm like, oh my God, this is not like we need a pharmacy that does a multi-dose or a strip pack, because like you shouldn't be doing this.
You
This
should
is
call
a
us.
problem,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so like it's coming, and there's more and more people that find themselves either in that position or as caregivers taking care of somebody in that position. And I just think it's what's going to be the future. Like that people need a convenient way to get their meds that don't require them to drop tiny little tablets into little squares
Vials and
and misdrop and maybe miss a dose or double drop and end up taking two. I mean, my dad took 2 blood pressure meds one day. I mean, we didn't know that, but he called me and he's like, I'm dizzy, and I just went home to lay down. Like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm like, all I could think of, being a pharmacist, was, I bet you dropped 2 little tiny white tablets in there and took them. So like, just wait it out, see what happens. And he ended up fine. And I mean, again, don't know exactly if that was the reason, but it hasn't happened again. It makes a lot of sense. And it's all just on how people receive their drugs and how they manage it. And we have 20 million more people that will be in that position in 5 years. So we have to solve these problems, and we have to have these options. And to your point, it's just going to keep growing.
And also with the Home with Meds program, it's delivered in the cycle strips, but I believe that we do the whole month. And we also send them, it comes with a printout, so they get a picture of their medicine.
That's great.
And it's printed out in the instructions, even though it's also on the cycle strip for them. So that also helps.
have you
with
guys tried
accuracy
to
at
use
home.
that program for patients that had never been in the nursing home, just out in the community?
That could definitely be an avenue.
Yeah,
in the future,
I think we've talked about, because a few of our facilities, they have the long-term care, the AL and then the independent living.
CCRC.
Yeah, so I think we're trying to get out more into our independent livings at some of those facilities to see, would that benefit them? And I think it would.
Yeah, well, to Chad's point, I mean, just because they're not in a nursing home doesn't mean they don't need that extra help.
Yeah.
Well, for people that want to not
There's
end up,
days I think it would be convenient for me.
right?
Yeah, for all of us.
Yeah.
We could all use it.
Well, we want people to age in place. We don't want them to feel like, oh, I'm on so many meds now that I have to go to assisted living or I have to go to a nursing home because we can't manage this. You want them to have the opportunity, whether that buys them 6 months or a couple of years. It's huge.
Well, we hope that that's the case and that people can age in place for as long
Right.
as possible. But it's also nice to have that system already set up so that
Oh,
for
yeah.
our facility and our staff, it makes it easier for them
For
as
sure.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how convenient for that patient to be an IL and a CCRC and then just take their meds and go straight to that AL and
Right.
or skill building for,
Right.
a period of time until they can get back to their apartment.
Right. Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about the operational side, and I love that because people don't really understand maybe that when ASCP was founded in 1969, it was founded because nursing homes were part of the Social Security Act and they were being built, and the facilities, the nurses at the facilities would consult the community pharmacy and say, what do I do? I've got 100 people here. They're on 8 medications each. I can't have 800 vials of medication and be efficient passing meds. So the whole industry sort of started to develop, and the term consultant pharmacist was really consulting that pharmacy. Obviously, over time, that name has bounced around and now probably better represents a pharmacist that goes into a nursing facility and does the med regimen reviews. And that's sort of our contemporary term, consultant pharmacist. But it's all together. But let's flip to that consulting side. You both do consulting. Like, what are your challenges right now in what you do every day?
I would say keeping up with the new regulations. There's been a lot of changes
Particularly
this
this
year.
year.
Yes, this year. Just making sure that we're providing the best knowledge and advice that we can to the facilities that we service. And keeping up with that accurate information. It's been really helpful being part of organizations like this that help to keep us updated on all the new and things that are coming out. So,
Gosh, challenges for me. I'm trying to think. Maybe just keeping up with with education, like you're even saying, with the new regulations and making sure the facilities are aware of what's going on, or with new drugs, getting the info to them, or you're looking at a chart and you see something and that maybe triggers something. Do they need some more training here or some education, things like that.
I would think that's amplified for a variety of reasons. I mean, you have more complex patients today. They're on more medications by and large. And I just think they're understaffed in a lot of cases. So they're now leaning on the consultant pharmacist to do a little bit more than maybe they were doing in the past. So I think we see a lot of that. The regulation is a big deal, as you point out.
right. One thing that helps us is that we do have a nurse on staff.
Yeah.
That does education for some of our facilities and also helps to kind of bridge the gap between nursing and pharmacy. So she's able to kind of give us perspective as well and help the facilities. So.
Yes, she can do all sorts of IV training, med pass training. She can observe med passes if the facility would like. We can also do that, but a lot of times she will step up and do that for us. Like she can help us. I believe,
She's just a really valuable resource to have somebody
I'm
where
glad
you
that
can
we've
be
got
like,
her.
okay, this is what I want to say. And she like, okay, well, these are the challenges that a nurse would face if they were trying to implement that.
Yeah, because it's nice to get that nursing perspective, and she's a coworker. There's a lot of facilities you can still ask your nursing staff or your DON, and they would give you good information. But it's great to have a nurse on staff. That,
Yeah, sometimes
Absolutely.
nurses don't want to be
Yeah.
told by a pharmacist what to do. So, it's nice to have a nurse
Or
talk to a
sometimes they
nurse.
don't have time for
Occasionally.
questions, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and if a lot of those regulations are not necessarily pharmacy-specific changes. There are a lot,
Exactly.
but some of them are more nursing-specific, and so that nurse and all of the nurses have to be responsible for a whole broader range of regulation changes, not just ones that affect medications.
Yeah.
I'm sure by the time that this podcast is on, we will have just done a webinar on the new regs, and it's with the medical directors, it's with the nurses, and it's designed to be that sort of education across disciplines so that we all understand what we're going to be facing with some of these. I think that helps, but there's a lot of confusion around some of that. And I think other disciplines sometimes when they get their education just from their area, they might miss the nuance of what does that mean? Like,
Right.
you know, consent would be one for psychoactive meds is, well, at 3 o'clock in the morning, how do you get consent for a new medication? And how are we supposed to approach that? And sometimes you need each other to figure out, okay, here's how we should handle it. I don't know there's a great answer, and I don't even know if we know how surveyors are going to apply this, but
Right.
Yeah.
at least we're together as a front.
Right.
At least we're doing it wrong the same time.
Right. At least nursing, pharmacy, and prescribers are all doing it wrong the same way so that we can at least
Always
defend
nice
each
to have
other,
a friend.
right?
Yeah.
100%.
And unfortunately, don't know. I always say we won't know what they're going to tag for until they start doing surveys under the new
Right.
guidance, and then
Yeah.
you'll see what they're tagging.
And
for
it could
what
be
they're looking
different in
at, so.
different parts of the state or
Oh,
different
Yes,
states.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a little variation between surveyors for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, those regs just came into rule April 28th. And so one of our nurse consultants that we work with, that works with the nursing associations, has compiled whatever's happened. And it's not a lot, but there's some things that have happened to try to begin to inform people, okay, here's how some survey teams have approached it, just to try to share a shared experience, because we don't know what they're going to look at and how they're going to do it. We have our guesses, but
Yeah. And in some of my facilities and attending behavior meetings, the psych nurse practitioners have been very good about sharing their experiences, even at their other facilities,
That's
if
good.
they've had a
Yeah.
survey. They're like, here's what they were looking at here, here's what you need to be on the lookout for. So
Yeah, it's
I think we're all kind of looking out for each other.
Yeah.
and I alluded to it at the opening today, but in the physician's fee schedule, there's a broadening of how CMS wants to look at psychoactive meds outside of traditional nursing homes, going via the physician route, but how are they going to evaluate patients that are on antipsychotics? And I think ultimately it opens up opportunity for pharmacists that have done this on the skilled side to do services for AL patients, maybe that they don't service that home, or they're more independent style, and then into the community. It may be vis-a-vis the physician, but the physicians are going to look at this reg and go, I don't know what to do with it. I don't
Right.
like, and there's a legion of consultant pharmacists out there that we know what to do. So there might be opportunity there. We're exploring that. We'll see where that goes. But
that'd be
there's
great.
a lot of attention
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Again, naturally, because you have a lot of people that maybe 10 years ago would have been in a nursing home, but they're not. They're at home, but they're just as complex. They have just as many medication issues, and they need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be another avenue, like an incident tube
Right.
type of billing. So,
Right.
another
So we'll
opportunity to
see.
have a collaborative agreement.
I mean, there's obviously a lot of education there and how to do it and how to forge that relationship, how to bill for it. We shouldn't be doing it for free like we like to do in pharmacy. Like,
Yeah.
how do we make sure that it all works from that standpoint?
I'm not
So-
familiar with that F word.
We
So
do-
everybody's talking about IRA. It's been a big topic, and obviously financially, it's a big deal for pharmacies. But do you think that's going to affect clinically? Like if you start getting these prescriptions, Xarelto and Eliquis, and that kind of change, do you see these changes hitting clinically, or what do you think is going to happen? Going to
Wish
switch
we
everybody
had
back to Coumadin? Is
Yeah.
that-
crystal ball. I don't know that Coumadin's
Let's hope
ever
not.
come
I know,
along.
that's the problem. I'm not sure. Because I think that's more of like kind of like an inside question or management question. Or
No, it
maybe-
certainly is operation financial, but I just didn't know
Yeah,
if there would,
yeah.
if you thought that might be a clinical or impact there for the nursing.
I think there's going to be
homes.
pressure.
There's always going to be pressure.
Yeah.
I think in the end, you
Unfortunately,
just
Coumadin is
always
cheap
have
still,
to
but-
make sure that you're doing what's in the best interest of the patient and
Yeah,
advocating
for
for
sure,
them.
for sure.
So
Yeah.
I think as consultants, we're just going to have to make sure that we're recommending the best choice for that patient regardless.
Have you seen any of that with like insulins and Ozempic and things like that
Oh,
happening? in some-
definitely with the GLP-1s for sure. Unfortunately, it's the Cadillac treatment, but the cost isn't down yet.
Right.
So
Right.
making sure that you're advocating for the patient to get the best thing that they can for their treatment and for the best outcome. But also trying to balance that with the cost is challenging.
I think there's going to be a strong angle for more education around how you calculate your PDPM cost. So that I was just talking to somebody about that, like if they have liver failure or something, if they build the PDPM right, then it covers the cost of some of the medications that person needs.
Yeah.
And I don't know that nursing homes do that well all the time. So I think there's going to be a lot of that thinking. And I think, to me, the biggest question I think a consultant pharmacist is going to have to answer at a facility is why, does the Part D patient get, the Eliquis at X price, but the Part A patient does not, because it does not apply to them. I'm sure that'll be some conversation, and again, it might be at a contractual level, like an operational level, but you might have administrators or DONs complaining or talking to their consultant pharmacists about it.
Yes, we do get questions
so
about that.
it'll be
Or,
interesting to see
pricing
how
and
they'll
things like that.
play out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned at the beginning hooks that you had to experience.
Yes.
Right after you said, I'm not going to tell you when I graduated from.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I did say
Right,
hooks.
you said
I was
hooks.
12 when I worked
That's
there.
right. That's
I was
right.
10. No,
So
yeah.
I was actually a front clerk at a Hooks
Really?
when I was a teenager. So I wasn't cool enough to be back in the pharmacy yet,
Yeah,
or responsible enough. But yeah, it's
Tell them you weren't either.
little nostalgia there
Yeah.
back in those days, because Hooks was a pretty popular chain in the Midwest.
So where did you work at Hooks? Which
It
one?
was down in Southern Illinois. I went to high school at, so
Where'd you go to high school?
Mount Carmel.
Okay, because I think I would go over to Robinson, Illinois every once in a while.
Okay,
and
that
help
was
them
close to
out.
Olney. Yeah, I was a little more south than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's
Yeah.
where I got my first cut, and I said, I like that guy's job. He's air conditioned. He's indoor. I'm going to be a pharmacist. This is great. So that happened my first pharmacy
Nice.
experience at a Hook.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
nostalgia
I
bringing
still
it.
miss Hooks, but I love working in long-term care. So
And how did each of you find pharmacy as a career? What was the,
I started working at a pharmacy when I was in high school.
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
mine's I had two cousins that went to optometry school, so I thought about optometry very seriously. Because I didn't want to go to med school. I wanted to do something in healthcare. I didn't want to go to med school. I didn't want to be a nurse because I didn't want to give shots, which now I'm vaccine certified.
Right, and now
I
here we
finally-
are.
the
That came
pandemic,
back
the
on ya.
pandemic finally made me do that. And I really was going to go to optometry school. And then back when you could do this, like halfway through my senior year of high school, I said, I don't want to look in people's eyes all day long. That's going to be boring. So I changed my mind and applied to Butler for pharmacy school.
That's awesome.
So I never looked back.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I learned something new every day. So still.
I talked about the high school angle with somebody else today, and I worked as a stock boy and a delivery driver and a tech, and I didn't even go to college thinking pharmacy until I was in college, and
Oh, really?
they were like, you work at a pharmacy, like why wouldn't you? Like, why are you getting a biology degree? Like, oh, that makes sense. And I was doing it when you could get a 5-year BS in pharmacy or a 4-year biology, and they're like, just one extra year. But anyway, I think about that today because kids can't work in pharmacies in high school. You have to be older.
Isn't that strange?
And I think it hurts because there
Yeah.
aren't, people
Yeah.
don't work in high school and they don't see what the profession is, and then they don't
Yeah.
migrate to it
Yeah.
as easily.
Yeah. But I will add, when I started pharmacy school, I kind of felt at a disadvantage because I had never worked in a pharmacy before.
Yeah.
And all these kids, you'd hear them talking, oh, well, I saw this at work the other day or over the summer. So once I got into pharmacy school, then the Hooks manager did hire me, but I had to work out front for a year first before he'd let me behind the counter.
Okay. Yeah.
But that worked out. I'm glad he did that. But yeah, so I went into pharmacy not ever working in a pharmacy before. But I always liked shopping at the drugstore. So. I loved going to the drugstore.
And pharmacies evolving a little faster than optometry, I would imagine. A lot more changes than
Yeah.
that. So.
Although you have a good LASIK story.
Well, I
Let's hear it.
Well, I got LASIK when it first came out, and they told me, yeah, you can get this. Then every 10 or 15 years, just a little tweak, and we'll update it. And so most of my adult life, I didn't need glasses, and then about my mid 40s, eyesight started fading. I went and to get my touch up, and they said, oh no, that was like generation 1. Like we can't do that. Like there's no option. And I'm like, all right, just give me contacts. Like, nah, Nope, can't do that.
Oh,
The
no.
LASIK changed your eyeball, so contacts will just pop right off of your eye if you do
I
it.
didn't realize
I'm
that.
like, so what's my option? It's like glasses. So
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Isn't that funny?
I
That's
did go
interesting.
20 years without having any.
That is
needing
why
anything.
I have not gotten them, and I still wear my contacts because I'm afraid they're going to mess up my eye. And I
Yeah,
will
that
have
was
glasses
generation
like
one
you.
LASIKs, you know. But
Commodore 64 LASIKs.
sacrificed, you know. I benefited the early, but I sacrificed late. So.
okay, maybe it's safe
Well, you
to
look
get it
nice in
now
your
since they've
glasses.
tested
I
it on
think you
him.
do.
No, I thought you meant you
Appreciate
had
it.
a furosemide story. I thought you said LASIK.
Oh, yeah, right. There you
Not
go.
yet. I'm
was
sure
like,
that's
what's your
coming.
That's the
I'm sure that
pharmacy dad
story's
joke.
coming.
Yeah, we're going to get to that pretty soon here.
That was the dad joke. I faded into the hedge.
Well, with that, we're going to say goodbye to our lovely guest.
Thank you guys
so
for being
much.
on. It's awesome.
thank
Thanks for
you.
hosting
For
the
being
Midwest
on.
meeting.
Yes,
Yes,
it's our
in touch,
pleasure.
Thanks
yeah.
to
Thank
In Touch.
you.
and-
Awesome.
ASCP does a lot for us, and we get a lot out of our ASCP. So thank
Awesome.
you.
Thanks
Fantastic.
so much.
All right. Well, join us next time on Our Experience.